He is back. Shaz is back. Ate a little bit more pasta. Ooh, that pasta's good. Ooh. Starting to get the spasms. What happens is I tore those muscle fibers in my back probably. Hopefully. That's the least of it. The worst of it could be like discs and shit. But we're going with the muscle tear theory. And then in a couple days, if it starts going down, if it lasts for more than 2 weeks with lingering pain and possible tingling in my limbs, then maybe it's nerve and disc stuff. But we're going with a muscle theory now and hoping that we can just recuperate like a normal muscle tear shit that happens. But your body tries to compensate through the spasming, I guess. So like right now, standing in the kitchen, your body starts having these spasms. You have to lean against something. You don't appreciate shit until you don't appreciate good health until you're fucked up. You don't appreciate good health until you have a cold. You don't appreciate a lack of physical symptoms until you. Some people, like I told my folks, I was like, glad you didn't come to the gym with me. I would killed you guys. I need to slow my roll. I'm a very ambitious, very bold, very loud, and sometimes arrogant person. And this is life telling me to. No, I can't slow my roll because I got shit that I have to do. But you could do stuff quickly, but also you can be. There's precautions, more precautions I should take. Just like my chess game. I have to clean up my chess game. I have to clean up my form in my working out. But that's what this is. This is cleaning up my intellectual form, checking my word, and seeing if I can live by these words or if I have to let some of them go. Already, when I this might be too much information. All of it is. I overshare. That's what I do. But my porn use, I notice that I've noticed that for the last year or so. As I get into my mind and start being more open with myself and talking about everything, including my sexuality, which seems to be the second or third thought in my mind anyways. I'm lonely. I need a life partner. If not that, I need to date more. But whatever, fucking, I should be just. I'm single Shaz and coupled up Shaz are a little bit different. Single Shaz is always kind of looking, and I spend a lot of energy and a lot of time. That's why I like dating people, because it's a place to put your energy. Otherwise, my energy is just out there in the world, always kind of looking. I like to have a partner, or if even not a partner, but then a routine of dating or going at that's what it is. Not having anything, not dating, but not having a girlfriend. I have the sexual energy and nowhere to put it except in my fucking hand. That's disgusting. I don't put it in my hand. I put it in disposable tissues or other things that I can. But yeah, I noticed my porn use this year. Well, I never really liked manufactured porn, but so I usually watch amateur shit. Chatterbait is really good because Chatterbait is just it's a little weird because these people are basically masturbating for money, which yeah, that's what prostitution is. But these ones literally, you put a device in you, which when the people give you money, it vibrates, which is just I think it's making bad feedback loops in their brain. You're orgasming to money, but whatever. I'm not managing these girls' lives, but it's cool because they're real people. So you get all these different body types. But that's why I've always liked amateur type stuff because the produced porn, you're just getting people's fetishes. You're getting just like most of Hollywood stuff. We're seeing that a lot of these studio execs, top people in media, are pervs in the bad sense, not pervs in the sense of, oh, that's cool, that's a fetish, or that's sexually liberating. Pervs in the sense underage women, predatory sexual behavior. So we get their fetishes in the form of their, Harvey Weinstein forced Salma Hayek to put a girl-on-girl sex scene. And it's cool if you're a lesbian and this and that, but he was putting his own sexual desires into her art. So I've always felt like that from Hollywood. And growing up, it was why did I like fucking skinny, young-looking women? Fucking basically underage, skinny-looking women. That's what Hollywood has, this youth fetish and this anorexia fetish, which affects everyone. It affects everyone who consumes this media. That's what my friend listens to conservative radio. And I tell him that shit, even if you're listening to it ironically, it's going to affect you. You can't listen to. I've been watching these shows with my folks, and I'm I listen to them, but I kind of know I'm going to need a break from this. I've been with my folks for a minute. I'm going to need my own space to kind of clear my head. But that's what this partly is. This is therapy too every day. But yeah, I noticed that when I was young, I had a funny view. I was super hypercritical of women's bodies. And I see that in young people that I talk to now about sex and stuff. We're just talking about chicks and stuff, and who they think is attractive is such a narrow fucking, especially like attractive dudes who think that they're a 10 or near it, and so they deserve a 10. It's like, dude, you fucking. And then I was so judgmental of guys like me now. I would see people get with people, and I'd be like, ah, you're settling, or you're this or that. That's a lot of why I was alone. There was a lot of good women probably who were into me, which it's okay. I'm a late bloomer, and it took me a minute, but I was. They're just judgmental little assholes, but it's not the kid's fault because youth just recognizes power structures and tries to fit within it in order to survive, whether it's political, economic, sexual. And so, what we're told are standards of beauty, a lot of human behavior is mimetic. We adopt what we grow up around. We have biological urges, but it's like nurture versus nature. Some biological, but a lot of it's environmental. A lot of people's early sexual development, this is proven, I'm sure of it, I've read articles. What you're imprinted with during your formative sexual years becomes your preferences. And through this introspection, but through my life, I noticed I was getting more acceptive of different body types. When I was doing this real estate stuff, I've been with a couple big girls, not ironically, but just like, I liked their energy, and we went back to my apartment, and you try different body types. You're like, this is just a cool person. That's what one of these girls in a hostel I stayed at. I was in between apartments, and we just vibed. She was a art. She came to New York to put on a play, and she was just so artistic, and she was young, but like she had that young, youthful, like she was like 20, 21, 20. She was in college. She had that young, youthful, the world is my oyster type shit. Or no, maybe she was 22. She was out of college, and now she was trying to put on a play, and she had a little bit of she had like a sponsorship or something, but she was like casting it and everything. It was a small production, but she was a chubby girl. She was like she was easily like 200 pounds, maybe a little bit more. But she was, I mean, first of all, like cute is cute. You have a great face, great personality, but like she was just down, like, because that's what it is. It's all about confidence, how you carry yourself. And I was hooking up with another girl in the hostel at the time, and that's why me and her didn't really. I would have actually probably pursued her, but me and her, that it allowed us to develop a friendship. Because there's this other cute girl who's like walking around in yoga pants and shit. Um, what was she? Fuck, I fucked that one up. There's, I'm not usually an asshole, but there's like a decent fraction of women I interact with that like I probably could have treated them better. But But I mean, I don't even know if we should talk about that girl. I will. I'm going to talk about all these girls because I want to do a full review of my sexual life too. But this chubby one, so since I was hooking up with the other one, me and her, there was no sexual tension. So we smoked cigarettes, but that's what it was like one Monday. I spent a month at that hostel. I had a really shitty month in real estate because I was just hanging around the hostel partying with everyone. But I had drugs on me. I just moved my apartment. So like I found some acid. I was always holding stuff from people, or like my Addy friend or people I knew, just when they had stuff, they kicked me down. So I accumulate stuff, and then every now and then it's like, all right, time to do this. So she was like, me and her were talking about, I was just so into it because I write and I love artists. I was so into her thing, and she was just one of those artists who, like, if someone asked me about writing, I could refer them 3 or 5 books easily about writing. And then like someone asked me about poetry, I'm like, well, you can't go wrong with Paulo Neruda. There's a really good anthology by W.S. Merwin, who was the poet laureate of the United States, and I list a couple like key people and say, look into them and look into these anthologies, go from there, and then those anthologies are great, and then you find out what you like and this and that. I gave one of those anthologies to someone once, but yeah. So this girl was doing that for plays. She was like breaking down because she was really avant-garde. I can't even remember. She wrote me notes. I wrote them down somewhere. She did so much like legwork for me. I was like, tell me about plays and your art form. And she just fucking, you need to get into this, and that, and this developed to that. And then she showed me these YouTube videos. But what happened was it was Monday. I was like, who wants to drop acid? And it's Monday. And I was just saying that to the hostel. And I was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, I'm down. And I'm like, fucking, so me and her, we just sat on the couch on YouTube while she went over the history of modern theater as she saw it as a playwright and a director. And we're both on acid, and we're just fucking, both of us are blowing our mind, because she took me into some like really creative veins of like experimental art. And we're both just broing out like we're best friends, and we've only known each other a week. It was cool. And so like, after me and the other girl I was hooking up with kind of got on the skids because she was one of the few crazy people I've let in my life. But that's, I could acknowledge she's crazy, like not crazy, but just very excitable, like burn your shit down type people. Like some of these women, if you don't treat them right, and I didn't. That's what it is. I didn't treat her right, but she's like one of those where like if you don't treat her right, like you made a really bad enemy. So like I had to kind of like distance and cut her out of my life. No, it's not that. I don't think she would have been physical or burn my shit down. She just, those shit she would say to me. That's what it is. When we would get in arguments or I wasn't really being what I should be, if I'm trying to be a good dude to her, just like I haven't said that in a minute. Just you not using her for sex, but only like not putting money in the not putting effort in the relationship, but putting effort in the like I'm horny, let's hook up, but then not really taking her out doing other stuff. That's disrespectful. And when you're just getting experience, or you're just like when you're that being that type of dude, you're that type of dude. Like what do they call it? Fuckboy now. Like if you're being a fuckboy, that's great. You want to be a fuckboy, but like don't blame a girl for fucking calling you out. And but when she would call me out, she was just like the text she would send me would be like 20 walls of text, and I was like, oh, this is maybe we could work through it if we could talk, but that also might mean that she liked me. I hit her up like last year. Last year I was hitting up a lot of people. She was like, why the fuck are you talking to me? I was like, I miss you, and I think I was a bit of a dick, and I just maybe no nothing. It's like, no, that's me. It's like that. I was being a fuckboy with that girl in Puerto Rico. I was like, you sure you don't want me to come up in your bed? You're gonna make me sleep on this couch? And she was like, get the fuck out of my place. Like I didn't complain. I was like, all you gotta do in life is take your lumps on the chin. That was so that. But anyway, so after that, then this art girl, she came over to my place and it was a Conor McGregor fight. I think we watched a fight on my laptop. I forced her to watch it. I was just watching it. It was the one where he knocked the guy out. I'm like, it might have been that one. It was one of those. And then yeah, and then we hooked up, and then it was sad because we hooked up and it was like we had such a good little friendship, and then it was nice, but and I liked her, but she just started talking about her sexual history and just she wasn't appreciated in the past, and that's all she, like it seemed like her past was like these types of hookups, and it was just like that's one where I was like I should have kept it. I don't know. It is what it is. Sex, meaningless sex is still good, but that's what it is. If I kept in, I don't keep in contact with people. That's one where like, how would I find her? I don't even. Maybe she emailed me. If she didn't email me, I don't have her name anymore, and then there's nothing. I don't have any phones or anything like that. I just lose contact. That's how Shaz lives, just a ghost. Even with the real estate, all my clients, it's just like I had a real estate business, I had all this shit, and then like the brokers, all the relationships I developed, my circle's small. A handful of people I keep in touch with all my life, and everyone else just blows in the wind. But I think about that girl. Stuff like that. Oh, that's what I was talking about, the sexual different types. It's like that's what like when she was telling me about like after we hooked up, she was basically like acting like, yeah, I know what this is. This is just kind of like a hookup, and like don't worry, I'm not gonna be weird about it. And I was just in my mind, I was like, I'd date you. I'm not. I actually liked you, but I just. It's weird. It's like that's where the confidence thing. It's like, you gotta. But she was being cool. She was just like, I understand. We could just hook up. I'm not trying to like be your girl. But in my mind, I was like, but I'm not trying to just be that guy either. I actually like, we have a vibe. But I wasn't trying to have a girlfriend right then. So like, it's not like that. She was just being cool. She was like, no, like we're friends. And then like, yeah, we're both horny. Why not? Like, I'm down for it. But like, her acceptance of the whole thing kind of bummed me out because I was just like, I wanted to be more than that. It's like stuff like that. Once you have those experiences, it's like, do I want to be that dude? Because I want you to have more confidence in yourself. Because if I'm your friend, or if I didn't stay in contact with her, but I want her to do good in her plays, and I liked who she was. I don't want her to think that this is the only types of sexual experiences she can have. But then it's like, what type of man are you living? Like, what type of man am I being? Am I creating the positive I want to see in the world, or am I just being one of these takers who's just taking what I want? You have to decide that for yourself. And I was brokering, and I was noticing I was becoming more of a taker. But let's go back to that. Let's see. Me and Reddit, and then I'll talk more about my time in real estate. You're a fucking dipshit. Ooh, 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to grab that ice. You're a fucking dipshit. My mother came across the border from Mexico when she was 17 and now owns her own business. Even then, they lost their house in the recession, which is why I decided to get serious about making money. For the first 30 years of my life, I've been writing and living like a free spirit. After I got arrested in the Occupy Wall Street encampment, the original one, I had literally nothing. The police broke my laptop in the process of beating my ass. I borrowed a couple hundred from friends and family to go to Puerto Rico and clear my head. Then I came back to New York City with $200 in my pocket. I got a gym membership where I could keep a locker of clothes and shower. I walked the street at night and slept in Central Park 6 a.m. to noon, a safe time to catch a nap. I knew how to dumpster dive for my Occupy days. I got as many jobs as I could handle, delivery boy, bar back, and sold a guitar to finance my real estate license. That was my dad's guitar. I forgot to mention that. It was a Martin Triple O, I think it was, all mahogany body and neck. It smelled beautiful. The mahogany looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It has a really rich medium tone, which if you're a finger picker, I like to finger pick. You have really nice highs and really nice bass. Sometimes you're a little light. These dreadnoughts, the big guitars, are really nice for big, heavy, lower sounds. And then some of them twinkle really nice at the high ends. I notice Taylors usually twinkle, but it really comes from the wood and the size of the guitar. But this Martin was twinkly at the top, and bass lines were beautiful, and it was rich. It was a nice medium tone all the way through. The Triple O was a slightly smaller body. I bought it for my dad when I was in the Army for one of his birthdays, and then I took it back from him when I was traveling. He let me borrow it. It had a really nice case too. It's one of those guitars that only gets more expensive. It's like a fucking bottle of wine. Like they don't make them. They made them for a little bit, and then I'll probably find one again. But I sold that to get that was like symbolically me getting my real estate license was I'm deciding on a different life right now, and I'm sacrificing for it. I'm sacrificing something that, like, out of anything that I have in my life, that's probably one of 5 things I would have wanted to keep. One of 3 things. I don't know. I'd have to think of something else I'd want to keep in my life. Yeah, a guitar is probably the one thing that I would want to keep in my life. If I'm traveling, if I'm this or that, what's something I would keep comparable to a guitar? The peace that it gives me, the joy, the memory, the fact that it can age and grow with you. I have a friend of mine's holding a guitar that I found in the military in the dumpster. I was doing my details because I wasn't in school because I got in trouble doing some detail in like the garbage area of our base, and these guys find a guitar in the dumpster. It's broken in 2, and I'm like, can I have that? And they're like, yeah, it's broken. And I went to the hardware store and I put it back together. It was broken in 2. The top came off the body, but I looked, it's a Fender, and I'm like, a Fender is a good guitar. That was made in America. Fender Gemini, made in the 80s, and it has great, if you go to Musician's Friend, you get guitar reviews. It has great reviews. It was a great body, great sound, great. So I fucking put it back together, and I love it because it has wood screws, it has wood clamps. I dropped it and the neck busted, so I put the neck back together with Gorilla Glue, and it has like 8 screws sticking out of the neck. It's a Frankenstein guitar, and it's fucking beautiful, and I've had it since 2000, so it's like an 18-year-old. The more you play guitar, it has burn marks on the bottom from me taking it camping. Like it's my adventure guitar. There's like that guitar has bled and sweated and like been near enough to a fire to fucking singe the bottom. That is what I call him. I call him Jimmy. I go to the beach and he's right there in the sand next to me. Everywhere I go, that guitar is gone pretty much, and a friend of mine's holding on to it for me. But yeah, I can't sell that one. I mean, I could. It maybe if I am someone someday, it would be worth value. But right now, it's just valuable to me. But it has such a nice sound because it's my sound. That guitar is like it's lighter. The mahogany Martin was deeper. This one's a light one because it's like a spruce top. The top is where most of the sound comes from, and the mahogany is, I think, a deeper sounding wood. But yeah, it's just normal. Usually, most of them are spruce tops, and then depending on how the wood is cut too. But it's a quality guitar by a quality company, which even when I pieced it back together, sounds fucking amazing. Anyways, guitar talk. What's something I would think of like a guitar that I would want to keep? Maybe like a ring. Something. I have a couple of earrings. I don't have them now. That I try to keep with me. I'm looking at right now at the stuff that I took to my parents' house. I have 2 bag shaz, but most of that is clothes. And then I have a little things in my bag that I took with me. What did I take with me? This thing is something I would keep. Oh, why are you walking around, Shaz? Oh, this isn't a good idea. All right. I put this on when I take mushrooms. When I trip out, it's my Shaz fucking necklace. Whoosh. Take off my shirt, put this on. There's plenty of pictures of me shirtless with this, walking around. Shaman Shaz necklace. I bought this. This is like $100 in some party store, the type of store you would go to if you're going to dress up for Burning Man. New York's a very good, like, high-end party city. But then I broke it, so I have to fix it. I took it, actually, when I did heroin for the first time this last year. I was at that girl's house, and she said she had, like, heroin, mushrooms, acid. I had joints on me, and she had ketamine. And she was like, fucking glorifying Hunter S. Thompson. I told her, I was like, you know that dude's a douchebag who didn't do all the drugs he did, so don't watch out who you idolize. She still thinks she could do all the drugs in the world. But I put that on. I was like, let's do it. Fucking stripped down. At one point we were naked, and I put that shit on, and we just spirit walked. We spirit walked and opiate walked and ketamine walked, which feels like really fucking weird. Anyways, let's get back to this, Shaz. 21 minutes, and then at 30 I'm going to go grab that ice. I got as many jobs as I can handle. Delivery boy, bar back, and sold a guitar to finance my real estate license. Then I worked every waking hour learning the real estate market. This month will mark my third year in the industry. I've made $16,000 so far this month and counting. I never made that much in a year before in my life until I decided to get serious and focus. It took the contrast of me protesting for a better world while my parents were losing the roof over their head to realize what counts in life. Hard work, no excuses. So this is like dog eat dog Shaz. It's like, nah, you want to make sure you're not being fucked over by fucking manipulative people and cons and wars of aggression. But I'd gone completely the other way. I know people like this who are like, just hard work, bust your ass, dog eat dog. That's why you be the lion, you be the gazelle. You don't want to be the gazelle, be the lion. It's like, yeah, well, what if you're a tool, dude? What if you're just fucking being used? All your hard work is being used by that lazy, lying, manipulative financier. Yeah? Yeah? The clever man usually outdoes the strong man. Don't fight people who are smarter than you. That's life lesson. Now, if you are wise and you are strong, then you have a couple different skill sets. As far as LGBT and female and cripple, can't really speak to those, but you can eat a dick, so... As far as LGBT and female and cripple, can't really speak to those, but you can eat a dick, so maybe I have Asperger's. Do you see? I noticed this. As Shaz was doing more on his own and coming up in the world, I was checking my blind spots, having money for the first time in my life, and hooking up with women that I'm pursuing women successfully because now I'm a part of society and I have things I never had before. Status, social status, because I'm able to buy it. I'm able to take a girl to a nice restaurant, and I live in a nice neighborhood, so I can impress her with my knowledge of nice things and then my ability to pay for those nice things. And then also still be wild from the way that I came up with, like, I also do like drugs and do exciting things and have stories and adventures. And when I went to Puerto Rico and I meet some girls down there, I'm like, oh, I know this shit too, but I have some cash in my pocket. So like these girls, I flew them over to the island. I was like, hey, why don't you hang out with me? I basically like got 2 temporary girlfriends for like a week and just took them out to the beach and like stupid shit. But that type of shit makes you a dick too. You got to balance stuff out in life. This whole year has been me checking my mind. I'm really going to call this back pain just more humility lessons. Just, you gotta make sure that you can stay humble in life. If you lose that, you lose everything. I'd rather keep my humility than have success. No success is worth the loss of humility, because then you might be set up for like a fatal fall or being used by people. Ego is a blind spot like anything else. Just like I pursue women because I'm lonely and also because I love that energy. But I also want to learn the dance because I want to be able to be manipulated by them. Because I think at some times in my life, Addie really showed me the danger of being manipulated by women. All right, now I just Focus. I'm turning the light on my screen so that way it shines up at Shaz's face. What? Oh, no, never mind. That was the screen dying because we ran out of time. This thing's on like a 25-minute timer. All right. So yeah, that was uncalled for, Shaz. You don't have Asperger's. You're just being a dick because you have success for the first time in your life and you think that makes you better than other people. Life is your responsibility, no one else's. There is literally no excuse other than terminal failure, and even that provides wisdom beyond any reward. When I say what you are willing to die for, I mean it. If you don't agree with the above, just settle for having less in life, as far as comfort, happiness, and peace, because that will be your lot. Drop mics. This is like the whole, raise yourself up by your bootstraps. We got to be more tolerant for it. That's what I was saying before. I'm able to go from 0 to, I hit the 1%. I hit like the 3% though, like the top 3%, top 5%. I caught back up to kids who did really well from my high school class. Within 5 years, I caught back up to a supposed track as if I'd gone to college and done all the nice shit. And I know because I ran into a couple college kids or high school kids that I knew. And I also, my neighbor down the hallway, I was able to, that's what, if you want to internalize wisdom, then have a woman verify through, I don't know, for some reason in my life, I feel like I really know something when I meet a woman who also shares those values, and then we share ourselves with each other. But then my neighbor, she was like, it was just funny because she was like the stereotypical live in the village, went to college, now she was living in Paris after the village. And the fact that me and her had a thing was like, all right, I'm back in the fucking, because I was always Shaz the outsider and I couldn't get these normal girls because I didn't do the normal shit. So once I did the normal shit to the point that I could start getting the normal girls, it was like, all right, I'm back in society, fully integrated, fully vested, which is why I was on Reddit. I was doing the shit that people in society do. And being rewarded by these internet points. Here's another one. 1 point. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. Take the good, leave the bad, take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. Now to work. Explain like I'm 5. Why does it seem like race relations in the U.S. have gotten a lot worse over the last 5 years? What has changed, or am I just getting older and noticing it now? The protest movement that was initially started as a response to George Bush II's outrageous presidency has been sublimated into the world can't wait purgatory, then resurfaced in has been sublimated into the world can't wait purgatory, then resurfaced in the Occupy at the height of the recession, then once again within Black Lives Matters. Source: personally involved in all three, and see the same paid activist agitators. Mainstream narratives are shaped by money, both from above and below, to both suppress systemic change and vent frustration through ineffective means, i.e. angry young people in the street. As long as there is injustice perpetuated by our nation abroad and at home, as measured by total lives and dollar amounts, not superficial attributes like gender, color of skin, or other divisive categories, there will always be a response that needs to be handled. Cue the organizers trying to convince you to get out in the street and get angry. Because, of course, that's what the perpetrators of oppression are doing. Marching, not counting their money in their boardrooms as they play masters of the universe with our commons and our culture. I got 1 point for that. Good job. Explain like I'm 5. What is the body buzz you get from narcotics and hallucinogens? And why hasn't someone made a safe drug that produces those effects yet? I got 1 point for this. We have so much cognitive dissonance to deal with in our current dominant culture. Wars for peace, profits to eradicate poverty, consume to conserve. We have so much cognitive dissonance to deal with in our current dominant culture. Wars for peace, profits to eradicate poverty, consume to conserve, confirm to individualize. That how do you know that your derealization is not in fact actual reality knocking on the door? I think hallucinogens of all types help clear the clutter, the cultural clutter, and let the real, whether observable or intuitive or genetic or spiritual or whatever you want to label it, lets that wisdom come to the surface, for me anyways. The Internet's Own Boy, the story of Aaron Swartz, 2014. The tragic story of Reddit's co-founder and his struggle for freedom on the internet. -2 points for this one. Wait, does that make user Spez Puffy to Schwartz's Biggie? Mind equals blown. What did I link that to? We're almost done here. And then I'll speak on this the best I can. Oh shit, I have to speak on the next one too, though. Oh shit. There's always more to speak about than I think there is. Oh, Puffy, I'll be missing you. Yeah, no, Spez doesn't even do that. Doesn't even speak about that dude because their values are so different. One of the most satisfying arrests I've ever seen. By probably in my butt. I got 1 point for this. What is the justification of cuffing and detaining a person, in your opinion? We can only assume as to the nature of the crime which led the cop to detain the driver. Seeing as how he wanted to tow the car, I'm assuming it's an offense related to registering the car or his license. Maybe he had a warrant or they found a controlled substance, but why search first? That obviously started as a traffic stop. And the cop, one, doesn't seem like he felt the driver was threatening, and two, even allowed a little commentary by the driver at the end there. The woman was the only belligerent party, it seemed. What I think you're missing is that you don't have to agree with or like a person to defend their rights. The threshold for detaining someone in a supposed free society should be higher. I think most would agree. We live in public. Anytime you're annoyed by my actions, I might be detained, or anytime I talk back to a cop. In my experience, I have been detained for merely talking back to a cop. Once the officer said, "I'm feeling threatened," sarcastically as he casually just walked behind me and cuffed me. What choice did I have? This is because he asked for an ID. I gave him my Puerto Rican license. He said it wasn't a valid ID. I said Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. It is a valid ID and accepted by all banks and most rental car companies. Read a fucking book. The other time, a gang, because that's how they act, of cops raided a house party I was at. We cleared the house, but were on the sidewalk complaining about the excessive force. They told us to leave. I said, no, it's the fucking sidewalk. I have a right to be here. This time a cop sneaks behind me and cuffs me without warning. Drunk in public, I get the night in jail. Only I wasn't drunk, had actually just shown up. They shut down the party while I was on my first beer. But our culture is such where the police are beyond reproach. They can detain, intimidate, and even kill. Rarely face the consequences for their abuse of power. Please do not defend this type of behavior. That's what I have to describe that party. It was Labor Day or something like that. What is this? Oh, it's ice time. I'll come back. Let me gather my thoughts. I'll come back. It's entertaining for me to scream. But it's much more useful to breathe. Much more useful to breathe. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to know by tomorrow how fucked up I am. I'll know by tomorrow. All right. I am guessing 2 tears. 2 tears in my lower back. 2 pops, 2 tears. That's what I'm visualizing. Don't mind me. I'm just going to tighten up my drawstrings to hold the ice in place. Ooh, I'm going to feel better after the ice. Come on, ice. I've had inflammation before. Not these types of tears, but I know the ice is saving my ass right now. Ooh, I love this shirt. Isn't this a cool shirt? I call it my Rihanna shirt. You should call somebody. If I had a phone, if I had a phone. How am I going to pick up any girls without a phone? I don't know if I want to get a phone. I like my life without a phone. My mind is so much clearer and calmer. Might not seem like it, but it is. Ooh, okay, let's do this. Shaz the writer will not have a phone because I need to keep my head clear for these high-level thoughts that I am trying to get. Ooh, there we go. I have to lean back a little bit to put... Oh my God. When you are in pain, ice is heaven. It's like scratching an itch, only not, because that actually is pleasure. This is just the absence of pain. Pleasure sometimes can be defined as absence of pain. Ooh, ah. Ooh, just numb that back. Ooh. All right. House party. Labor Day or something, Memorial Day, Santa Cruz. A friend of mine, it was his birthday, so I could figure out the day because it was his birthday around Labor Day weekend. I had picked up a bottle oh, that's another big girl. That's like the third girl I had sex with or something. See, this is when I'm like 26, 25. There was a long drought. Only until I started, when I got to Puerto Rico, I started to get more experience because I had the tour guide thing going for me, and I was, yeah, Shaw really opened up, broke my seal. We're like, okay, I'm worth loving. Like Addie messed with my mind a little bit with her manipulative ways. Again, she's was on her own thing, so I don't blame her. But the way we interacted made me feel. It doesn't. People don't make you feel anything, but the way I pursued her to take responsibility for it, the way that I was approaching women then was putting myself very low down. And I knew that. I knew that I'm worth more than this, and there's more opportunities out there that I'm not seeing. Rachel was one of those that I tried, and then I was like, oh, okay, I am worth more. Because Rachel had such a good heart. There was no negativity there. That's just one where if I'd had more time and energy to be basic and normal and plugged into society, more desire, as opposed to these political, whatever it is that I'm trying to do with my life doesn't involve staying in one place for very long, which makes it very hard to have a relationship. But she showed that I could, and then Shaw really proved it. She showed me hints of it, but back this party thing was like, found some girl online. We met up at some place. I bought it. This relates to the rest. I bought a case of wine for my friend for his birthday. It was a big case of like 12 bottles of wine, but I had it in my trunk, and by the time I gave it to him, there were only like 10 bottles in there because I gave it to him the next day, and that night I had it in my trunk. But I met this girl online. We meet up at the Saturn Cafe, which is like a place for milkshakes and shit, vegan place downtown Santa Cruz. And she's big. I mean, she's not just big, she's big. She's over 6 feet, and she's wide. She's not 6 feet wide, but she's over 250. She's pushing, which is cool because like she was beautiful. She was like one of these. She could have been one of those curvy models, but like she's just a big girl. She's not skinny. She's thick and she tall. She needed an NBA player. But I was like, and she was confident. She wasn't that unconfident in person, and that's really what gets me is like we could. And even back then, I was judgmental, but I was also hard up, and I was like, so we had, and also I try not to be a dick. Even my dickishness comes from cowardice of bad or hard conversations, which that is cowardice, or of so not being straightforward with my communication, or acquisitiveness. Yeah, which both go hand in hand. You cheat on someone, you wanted to acquire, you just have that acquisitive energy. And if you want that, be open with your communication. But when you don't have the courage to be open in your relationship about what you want, which is maybe like the ability to wander or other stuff, and I've had girls who don't mind that, and I've been that dude too, where I'm like, fucking do whatever you want. I know you can't replace me. Let's just be safe and talk to each other. But I doubt you're gonna find something like this. Like I like that type of confidence. But anyways, so with this girl, I met her in person. It was one of those like bait and switch things. It was like, you're not your picture. Your picture was from a specific angle. I was expecting a side, and you're the full fucking entree. But that's cool. So we sat down. I paid for it. We had shakes. We talked. But like I tried to like be nice, but like it wasn't. It was just like when we sat down, it was less of a date and more of a like, oh okay, what's up? Like old friends. I didn't after I saw her and we did the initial hug. I was like, all right, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna fucking like be cool. I'm not gonna fucking be like, whoop, and then turn around. So like I was sweet. And then when I'm leaving, I'm like, oh, yo, I gotta go because my friend's birthday's tonight. When I had the bottle of wines and stuff, I was gonna meet them up at a bar. They're all drinking at a bar. And then she says, all right, well, you should hit me up later if you're still up. And then when we hug goodbye, I'm hugging into her breast, and she's fucking way up here. It was a really nice, long hug, just like long, like, all right. It was just like that. It's here if you want it hug. And I'm like, this fucking girl got me thinking. She got me thinking about fucking jumping on the ride. And so jumping on that big girl ride. That's what my friend used to say. My friend, she when she was in her, I don't want to say her slutty period, but when she was in her experience gathering period, she hooked up with this big guy. He was just in New York. You're sitting down from the bar and someone buys you a drink and you look down and they're like, eh. And he was a dude with money and he was fucking big and fat. But she called it her fat guy ride. She was like, I got the fat guy ride that night. I was just like, why not? Let's see what this is all about. Ended up in his hotel room. Those stories happen. People sometimes, girls, guys, we're just looking for experience. Sometimes we're just trying to bump uglies and itch a scratch. And you never know. Some of these guys, you wonder, how do they get the girls that they get? They try. You don't know if that girl's just like, all right, you got swag and personality and you're funny, and you get tired of dealing with assholes. If you're not an asshole, you can get pretty far in life with just a little personality, despite what you look like. And fucking, it's not that you have money, it's that you're responsible and you're clean and you know how to do shit. The money just lubricates. But like, once you have enough money to have a clean interaction where I have a nice hotel, I can pay for shit, it's not between that person and the millionaire, it's whoever has a better personality, unless you're a gold digger. But like between that person and the guy in the band who needs you to pay for everything because he's going to make it big, but he has nothing right now, then it's like, it's tough and you're going to fuck the guy in the band for other reasons. But anyways, Shaz's opinions about why people hook up. All of my stories are so tangential. And so, I go to the bar, hang out with my friends. Kobe was playing. I could date all of my fucking life stories by like what was going on in basketball at the time. Kobe had just won the Olympics for the U.S. He just went off in the fourth quarter. I went to the bar, watched the fucking game with him, got a couple beers, and Kobe fucking came through in the fourth quarter. And no one was stepping up on that team. We were playing against Spain, and everyone was going cold in the fourth quarter. And Kobe just hit like 8 points straight and fucking put the game on ice. He stepped up as the alpha of the alphas, and as like Laker fan, born and raised, just like, yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. Fucking, you're not even surprised. You're just like, that's what Stu Lance says, or like the people who would comment on his games when he played. They're like, you're spoiled watching this guy play. Just know that watching him in his prime, you're spoiled, and you're not going to see this again. There's a silkiness to it. Anyways, so then I'm like, all right, and I fucking ditch my boys. I'm like, you know what? I had a couple beers in me. I was like, all right, I'm going to hit this girl up. So I hit her up. She's like, why don't you come over? Go over to her place, and then we're talking on the bed. We killed one bottle of wine. I brought in two. I thought I might need two. We killed one bottle of wine. That ain't enough. I'm still talking. I'm like, I open up the second bottle of wine because I'm talking to her on the bed, but I'm thinking, can I do this? Can I not? I don't even know if I could physically do it. So there's a lot of mass to move here. And then we fucking, and that's what cute is cute. She had a great face. She had a great personality. She was big, like not just fat, but like she was a big human being, a big specimen. As they say, she was like a unit. So halfway through the second bottle of wine, I'm just drinking it. I'm just like trying to fucking just like be like, all right, well, and I'm new. This is like the third girl I've been with. I'm just like, all right, I'm starting to learn my like moves. Like, you got to eventually do something. You can't just let the universe decide for you. Someone has to be like, and that's when she kind of like, I wasn't holding a cup or anything. So she kind of just like pushes on, she grabs me. She made the move, pushes me down. We start, and we go at it. And I remember, this was right after I got my appendix out because, I did the appendix thing, and then I moved back to Santa Cruz. And from Southern California up to Northern California, blah, blah, blah. And then she, because I was on her, and I was like, we were doing it back and forth, and we were using a condom. That was one of the times I was smart. And then she tries to get on top of me. And I just remember I was still sore. That was a soreness. That took a while to heal up when they cut you open for your appendix. They're the type of stitches I didn't have to have them taken out. They just dissolve. But I was supposed to take it light. And so she tried to get on top of me. And this girl, I was just like, I used all of my effort that I could muster. Like, it was nice. The sex was nice. Everything was nice. But like when she tried to get on top, I was like, no, and I shoved her off, like, to not be rude, but at the same time to not have my fucking stomach burst open on her bed. I was like, no, that's not. Hopefully she didn't take offense by that, but it's like I would have normally. I would have been like, all right, it's a soft, cushy bed, whatever. You're not gonna crush me, but like literally, you might rip open my guts right now. So I was like, I just all my effort to shift tactfully into another position. And then I remember being on her, and that's the thing with big girls. You got to put the work in. There is a lot of effort pushing back at you, and unless you want them to not do anything, but you want them to be involved too. So like they're pushing back their legs when you're on top of a girl missionary or whatever, their thighs, their legs, and you're also your bodies are connecting and stuff. So you got to actually like and I was a littler guy back then too. You got to put some effort in, and then yeah, fucking. I finished and I just like fell into her, and that's why some guys like big girls. There's a lot of comfort to that, and you just kind of I just laid on her, and I was just like, just fucking happy, and she was happy too. We had a good time, and then yeah, she was a freak. That's when you realize that you're not doing yourself any favor going after the big girls, because they're just as like sometimes those pretty girls are the ones not getting laid, and the big girls are the ones that everyone's like she had a very big appetite. She went after me. She was online cruising. We talked about stories afterwards, and she was like, yeah, she goes to the nudist colonies. She had been with like 30 or 50 people by then. She was 22. She was on a tear. She was just some of these you think, oh, no one's giving that girl love. No, she's getting hers. She got an appetite. She got an appetite in every way. That's why I start to look at people, and it's like, yeah, the skinny girl who's not eating and this and that, she might be a prude, and she doesn't have an appetite in any way. Or drug abuse lowers your sex drive. It becomes your primary. So sometimes the people that you think aren't getting it are getting it, and sometimes the people that you would think are getting it aren't. But anyways, I I finished, and I this is a life lesson, and then I fucking get off, and I just start laughing, and she's like, what? And I'm like, I think I lost the condom in you. Like, I get off. I let myself go limp in her. So when I got off, the condom fell off in her. She's like, well, get it out. And I'm like, what? Me? So I had to fucking go in there, and I had to fucking fish out the condom. I had to fucking peer inside and fucking reach my arm in and fucking, I think I grabbed a flashlight and I had to crawl in a little bit and fucking look around and shit at the walls, and she finally found it. It was 5 feet deep in her pussy. No, that's not true. That's fun. That's how I envision the story. I don't know why, but when I tell people that story, or when I envision it, I imagine just fucking, she's like, get it out. And I imagine fucking climbing inside, because that's how overwhelmed I felt by this one, because she had big presence too. That's what it is. I was 4 or 5 years older than her, but she had a lot more experience. And that's what it is, coming up as a young man, especially when you're a late bloomer and you don't have experience. These women teach you how to love physically. And then also the relationships teach you how to love emotionally, which is why I think we have to have these discussions as a society, talk more honestly and openly about how we developed our sexual identity and what things we want to keep and what things we should probably let go. Some of the things I still have in my head, I know I have to let go. No, that's what I was talking about earlier, that I'm noticing I'm starting to let go of some of the things. I'm trying to keep the good and leave the bad, and that's all you can do in life. Be less judgmental, be more honest, be willing to be vulnerable, be a better person. I didn't even talk about the fucking arrest. And so fucking the next day I go to my friend's house, we start killing that case of wine, and then it's his birthday, and then I bet everyone, I bet I could fucking kill, what was it, a bottle of wine to myself. Maybe it was 2 bottles. Maybe it was 3. It was a ridiculous amount. It was an amount where I fucking ended up passed out on the bathroom, and they couldn't come in because my body was blocking the door, and there was puke everywhere. And so they just fucking left me. I went to the party. And that's what, so when I read that, it's by the time I woke up, it was 10 o'clock. I'd done that. It was a barbecue, so it was noon to 2 or some shit like that. So when I woke up, I was sober. I fucking slept it off. I woke up, cleaned up all my puke, and I texted everyone. They were at the party. So I show up at the party, and everyone's fucking getting rowdy. There's a band playing. It's a house party in Santa Cruz. There's a band playing. So I walk in, I get my first beer, and that's when the fucking cops raided the party. They had a drunk checkpoint down the street, which I guess wasn't getting enough success. So they decided, let's just go to the fucking party down the street. So they came to the party, coming in with fucking guns and fucking flashlights. Santa Cruz has small town cops, sometimes are the worst. fucking come in like they're raiding a fucking drug bust, and everyone's just running, just like a movie, running, and fucking cops and guns and get out of here, blah, 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 blah. And so fucking me and my friends, we're friends for a reason. We all have fucking mouths, and we're all like talk back idiots, and they're all shit faced by this time. So the lawyer friend, I mean, I love the stories he has now as a public defender in Santa Cruz with all the fucking shit he got into. Not the most shit, but some shit. This is one of them. So he's running his mouth. I'm running my mouth. And fucking that's what it is. Like fucking you just can't keep your mouth shut when you see injustice. So I'm on the sidewalk and they're just fucking, I'm feeling like I'm an intelligent, articulate person. I have to stand up for this shit. And I'm sober too. Or I'm sober enough. Fucking, and I'd slept off my drunk pretty much. So I'm like, you guys, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is just a party. There's like, what, underage drinking? What the fuck are you busting us for? We're in a private residence and you busting the private residence. Is it noise complaint? But like guns drawn, really? And they're like, you have to clear out, you have to get out of here. I'm like, I'm on the fucking sidewalk. And then someone arrested me from behind. And then my friend, they grabbed him and fucking, he was talking shit too. They pulled the shirt over him like a hockey player and beat him in his ass until he shits his pants. How do I know he shit his pants? Because we all end up in the same paddy wagon. By the time they throw me in the paddy wagon, I'm like, oh, what's up, Rory? Oh, Rick, this and that. There was like 6 people in the paddy wagon. We were all friends. It was all of us. It was 2 of the people in the band, and then we had played in other bands previously. And then it was my lawyer friend. But like everyone in the paddy wagon, we all knew each other. So like someone slips their cuffs, hands a cigarette to the other person. There's a cage between us, and there's 2 benches. So 3 people on one side, 3 people on the other side. Someone slips their cuffs, hands cigarettes around, and then we're all smoking cigarettes and talking in the back of the paddy wagon. They're like, and they're like, what's that smell? What the fuck is that smell? And then someone's like, Rory shit his pants. This cop's literally, and then Rory's like all drunk and shit. He's like, they beat the shit out of me. We got thrown in jail, held overnight, drunk in public. And then fucking they go and release us. No charges, just to fuck with us. Because that's what the police do. That's how they're trained. You don't respect their authority, and then they get to fuck with you. That's America, motherfucker. Since I was young. Then fucking New York, I experienced that plenty of times in New York. You get a sense when you want to fucking take that stand, knowing where it's going to go, and then when you want to just let it go, because you know that these guys are just going to fuck with you with impunity. And then I've had good cops too. I've had cops where I'm just like, they're just kids, they're just young guys. Especially as I'm getting older, I'm just like, they're guys in their young 20. It's respect both ways. Sometimes you give them respect, they give you respect, but you bust open a house party for what? Noise complaint, knock on the door. There's no warning. They came in with fucking guns drawn and flashlights. They were just playing fucking commando. They were fucking with us because we were having fun. That type of shit I hate. Anyways, we got 10 more minutes. We can finish this. 8 more minutes. CEO Steve here to answer more questions. By Spez. I got 9 points for this one. Steve, I feel like Reddit is being mismanaged from the top down. It doesn't seem like you're empowered or capable of changing this because the more I read, the more it sounds like a culture problem. The issues you've identified to solve are not what's dissolving the society you built here. Think about it. People didn't flock to the site because it had the best tools before. Why are improved features going to retain them now? It was the idea of Reddit that attracted them, and Reddit's failure to live up to the idea that is causing them frustration. It's a values discussion, not one of execution. You'd have to actually change some of your own personal core beliefs or enable someone with a better philosophy than yourself in order to see what's going on. You don't have to agree with me, but you can't deny that honestly, you don't know why this site sucks sometimes. And so you chalk it up to human behavior, plan to entrench yourself against the trolls, and move on cashing checks. Because what you can imagine is as good as it gets, right? Not exactly. I plan to build the next best alternative to Reddit and help you go the way of Dig. It's not personal. You're just not able to meet the demands of your users. I have a greater imagination and a greater sensitivity to your user base. I'm writing this, however, to state that I also do have a price. To prevent me from making your company irrelevant, you can pay me $1 million. That will be worth the 6 months to a year it would take for me to brainstorm, iterate, and deliver a better online community experience. I'll give you until the end of 2015 to make the payment. Consider it a consulting fee. Give me an executive title and retain me for 5 years, and we'll fix your company. $200,000 a year should seem like a bargain, considering what your reputation and my own will be in 2020. Otherwise, I'll spend 2016 and applying my mental efforts towards what this site should be, or at least could be. And come 2017, I'll start on the good Lord's work of making you irrelevant. Best SB deuces. A little bit of arrogance. That got me the most points, though. Shaz, 1 point 2 years ago. As a native Los Angelino and resident of many cities in SoCal and NorCal, totally understood. Yes, I've seen what the industry has done to the Bay Area, having lived in Emeryville, Berkeley, and Santa Cruz, and having good friends who were longtime residents in the Mission before the city's hyper rent markets bleached the culture. Now I'm in Manhattan, where Silicon Alley is a real thing. I think that startup culture here has the most to offer from what I've seen so far, and there's no way you can make the city shittier than it already is. The Soho effect was born here. Might as well be quarantined here. 2 points. Is the main contradiction within the culture of Reddit that you don't know whether you're populist or meritocratic? 1 point. People with high social skills. What's the biggest mistake that people often make in interactions with others? Pause and smile. Kind of like listening, but more of a body language check to make sure you're making the person feel comfortable. If I'm getting bad vibes or seem like the person I'm talking to is nervous, I stop to check if I feel comfortable myself. I pause, smile, and then watch it become contagious. Instant calming effect on the conversation regardless of sales, first meetings, party, pickup line, etc. Good interactions start with a genuine smile. What factor statistics seems like obvious exaggeration, but it isn't. Looking for the reference now, but I read somewhere that there isn't a single street corner in Baghdad that hasn't experienced some sort of violence, from stabbing to shooting to mobbing. NATO has ruled out sending ground troops to fight against Islamic State militants in Syria. Muslims are on the front lines in this war. Most victims are Muslims, and most of those who fight against the IS are Muslim. We cannot carry on the struggle for them. 0 points. What about the interference Western nations have been conducting for over 100 years in the region, from Lawrence of Arabia to now? When will we have a Truth and Reconciliation Committee for the blood on our hands in propping up strong-handed rulers who give our corporations the favored treatment we demand? The real enemy to Western democracy isn't ISIS, it's Pan-Arabism. ISIS is just the only form of unification we allow the oppressed, the rabid, bloody terrorism of a defeated and emasculated culture. Which is why every interaction we've had with the region over the past 2 generations has been aimed at rooting out the instability and middle class that would offer any alternative other than a civilization versus barbarian false dichotomy. Hit squads patrolled Iraq with lists of intellectuals to target. Half the middle class fled last time I kept up, 2010. Sanctions since Saddam, keeping their universities and technology stagnant. Our country wanted ISIS since it funded the 80s fundamentalists. The Red Scare never attacked us domestically. This is fear politicians' wet dream to have a false war of cultures. NATO does not carry any struggle other than that for the corporate profits of its shareholders, I mean member nations. If here in the US we acknowledge that our politics are taken over by corporate interests, how hard of a leap of logic is it to deduce that globally the same pattern is playing out? Who can have faith in our supposed enemies when they're being trumpeted by the very political and economic class that is strangling us here at home? ISIS and crony capitalism are 2 sides of the same coin. We're just not represented here in our own government, just as ISIS isn't representing their people, which is why they're both racing out to the battlefield to fight each other, because war abroad is always first war at home. Want to stop ISIS? Take back control of your own government and eliminate the foil they need to succeed, and vice versa. Fuck NATO. What's your main goal in life? Blake Griffin's on Reddit. Oh, Blake Griffin. This is such a cool thread. Since joining Reddit, I've realized just how similar, but also how different we all are. Probably get buried, but 1, articulate a new political philosophy for the modern age. 2, build tools to implement said philosophy. Think Reddit, but better. What they like to claim their mission is, while they ignore the profit people paradox they burden themselves with. And then 3, execute. If 1 is achieved, then the other 2 should be organic developments within or beyond my lifetime. Ideas shape history. We need new ideas if we're to change the course we're on. And we'll need the rest of these dreams within this thread to contribute, in my opinion, anyways. Casino Jack. Oh, I'm not going to finish this. Oh, that Santa Cruz story took it all. Anyways, we can finish later. Oh, well, we're only doing 3 today, and I'll catch up tomorrow. It's okay. I'll catch up. I have patience and I have forgiveness for you, Shaz. Marathon, not a sprint.